Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I am looking at the price of XRP and we're going to figure out what is happening with the price and try to figure out a few ideas and how it relates to Bitcoin and the current price action with Bitcoin. As you know, with Bitcoin, my general thesis, right? By the way, if you didn't catch the video I did last time, it was essentially the entire market, right? It was the macro count for Bitcoin. So my whole thesis here with that, right, is either this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and then we go. So it would be a C. Another way you can do that, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C down here. And then you go. That would relate to this being the end of the fifth wave, right, on the grand super cycle. So if I zoom all the way out, just a little recap here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Back test this area, then go. The other idea, right, is that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in the middle of 5. So in the fifth wave, you need 5 waves, just like you need 5 waves with the third wave. So if we count this a different way, you can say this is 1, 2, this is 3, this is 4, and now we're going into 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That could very well be the case. So my ultimate conclusion here, my ultimate thesis is this right here. So as you know, I like phases, right? So basically an example of the phases, right? So basically the main idea that I have is sort of a mixture between it being the fifth, but also it being a correction. So it's always never what it seems. It's never clear cut and dry. There's always a caveat. There's always a twist, right? So I'm putting that twist into my analysis based off of a lot of different things, mainly the phases. So a phase, right? You have a bull, bear, retracement, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go. So that's sort of what I'm expecting at this moment. Now, looking at the 3-week chart, we have a pretty beautiful, I didn't really look at it before, but look at the 3-week chart. Look at the green dots on the TD sequential. First of all, look at this 9. That 9 was a beautiful buy, sell, right? So if you look closely, you could see that was a selling 9. So when that occurred, when we got that sell, this is the most interesting part, right? And I'm going to get to XRP, but this is important. Look at this. We had a 9 sell, right? It printed these red dots, but it also printed the green dots. And look at where the price went. It went all the way to the green dots. That is an amazing. Now, granted, how would you have known, right? It's always in hindsight, but still. This 3-week chart I'm really liking. I really like how it's forming up. It hasn't been so good in the past. I mean, right here you had a 9, we pulled back. Here you had a 9 buy, we rallied up, right? But recently it's been really, really good. So and look where we're at now. We are at an 8, which means next in 17 days we're going to get a 9, which is very important, right? So the big question is, do we get a 9 that breaks out, or do we get a 9 that's still under these red dots? But this is crazy. Look at this. The price went exactly to the green dots. So if all you had to do, if you were following this blindly, right? Because I like to use TD sequential. If you don't know what TD sequential, if you're new to the channel, basically it's an exhaustion indicator, right? It lets you know when the price is becoming exhausted in either direction, right? But if I like to use it with Elliott wave. I like to use it with the bull market support band. I like to use it with other things as well. You just don't use it by itself. But anyway, you had a 9 sell. You came all the way down to the green dots perfectly. And now look at this. We're almost coming to a 9. Okay, so now what do I think? What do I think? So my best case scenario, or actually the two ideas that really stick out for me is this right here. So boom, boom, boom. Maybe we get up to back to these red dots, right? So boom, come down, back test this area in here, and then go. So something like that. So price comes up, comes down in here, consolidates in this range, and then it continues on. And what do you see there? What does that look like to you? That's a cup and handle. That's usually what it is. And what is that? What is that? That is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Same thing. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Okay, so that's the big deal. That's the big idea, right? So what would the other idea be? Well, the other idea suggests that we don't have to go into reaccumulation, but rather we're doing reaccumulation like this. So reaccumulation here, right? Reaccumulation here. And then eventually we're going to go sideways. We're going to go sideways for a bit. I don't think this is just going to break out. I mean, it could, and that would be great. I'd love to be wrong. But so my two ideas is this idea and the previous one I just showed. Which one is more likely? It's very hard to say. The conservative in me, right, says rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. The bull boy in me says, hey, this looks an awful lot like what happened over here. Right? As you probably, some of you may know. And I'm going to tie this into XRP. I know I was going to do it the last video, but time got away. I promise that will not happen this time. So look at this. Right here. So we could be seeing something like that, right? So where essentially, right, you have a bull market, a bear market, sideways accumulation, breakout, sideways accumulation, breakout, sideways accumulation, final accumulation, bull run. Now, I don't think it's going to go rip like that. I don't think so at all. I think if it does break out, it might maybe get to 80, 90, 100K, maybe, right? But that's essentially the idea. So idea number 2 would be this right here. So obviously we're chilling in here. We come up. We can either stop now, or maybe if we're lucky, we can get up to those red dots, right? If we do get up to those red dots, I'm going to think it's going to be a shorter accumulation. So something like this, where we come down, something like this, right? And then we start to go. So something like that. And that would sort of end the whole thing. And what would that be? This would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5. So right now, we are treating it as an A, B, C, which means we got more downside. So A, B, C, but hopefully this can turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and have sort of like, like this channel or this diagonal look to it, right? And that would complete, this is very important, that would complete the whole thing, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that would be the 5th of the 5th of the 5th. So that's a big deal. So that would basically mean death for Bitcoin. Well, not death for Bitcoin, but that would mean Bitcoin's probably never going to see an all-time high for maybe a decade, 5 years. I don't know. We'll see. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, and now you have 5. So if you look at it like this, Bitcoin has never had a bear market. It's never, ever, ever, ever had a bear market. This is all one giant super cycle, a grand super cycle. This from here all the way up is one straight line. Up, 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 up. So now you have 5 waves, right? And how long did that take? It's been trading before 2012, right? So we'll just say 2010 up to 2020, which is 10 years plus 4, right? So 14 years. We'll say 15 years. So if it went up 15 years, at least it's probably going to go down for the next maybe 4 to 5 years, maybe even 6. Do something like this and then go like an A, B, C, right? But you go, oh, well, then the altcoins are screwed. Well, no, because if this count occurs, we still have another bull run. We still have a 4th and a 5th, right? So that could happen. Okay, so another way that would occur, right? Taking everything off, instead of that, obviously would be rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then we go. And then we could probably get a bigger run out of that. And then and in that case, it would probably be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd be a little bit more extended, if you will. So, or, right, that's my 2 main ideas. Now, the least likely idea, and it could totally happen, which is we get it over with. So if we don't want to go through all that pain and suffering through Bitcoin, then let's rip the Band-Aid off now, because we could be 66% done with it. So this is 33%, 33%, and then we come down for 33%. And that would say, okay, now we're complete. Now the Bitcoin bear market is done, right? This is a real bear market. This was just a correction. This was just a correction. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, C, and then we go. So essentially, it's all about 3 different ideas, right? This idea says, this idea would actually, we bite the bullet now and get it over with so that we can enjoy it later. Or we just continue on, but then have to deal with a much bigger bear market to come, right? So if it were up to me, I'm like, well, we're only 33% away for going on another complete 5 waves, another super cycle, another grand super cycle. Right? So let me just take a little fractal here just for visual representation and just do something like that. Right? And then just say, hey, if we go down, right, in an A, B, C, then we're done. We're done. Now we could start a whole new grand super cycle. Right? But if that's not the case, right? If that's not the case, and we do something like this, and then we come up for that final 5th wave, then we would get the big, right, A, B, C, something big, right? Something really big. But it would be, well, maybe not that big, but something of a correction. And then you would say, okay, now you can put this over here, right? So it'd be something like that. In which case, what would it be? It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That would kick off the new run. So it really depends, right? It really depends how it goes down. But I just wanted to sort of re-emphasize, had some questions there. I wanted to re-emphasize there. But as far as the altcoins, that's the big thing. The altcoins. You could see, Bitcoin is at an 8. So next, in about 17 days, we will get a 9. We did back test the bull market support band here, which is very good, right? You could see right there. We back tested it. Beautiful, right? So let me zoom in here. Go to the daily. But if you look here on the daily, we didn't back test it. That's interesting. So if you go up to the weekly, it doesn't show that we back tested it. But it's interesting. If you go to the 2 week, nope, no back test. Right? That's weird. I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Didn't even notice that. So if you go to the 3 week, look at that. We back tested it. So that's very weird. That's odd to me. So maybe it's already complete. I mean, because I was looking at this 3 week chart. I'm like, man, this thing looks bullish. Because first of all, you had this impulse to the upside. And then you had this pump, right, which back tested the bull market support band. You had a beautiful correction, right, like a bull flag here. And now you have this other pump with the back test. Now, I do think a correction is coming. It's not going to just not come, right? It looks toppy, especially like if you look at the NASDAQ, it's starting to look a little toppy, right? But if I actually, let's do a little bit of analysis here. If I say this is a bull flag, and I put my flag, maybe we'll put it here, right? And then we'll go up to there. And then we'll draw the flag, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Just to showcase, right? There's your bull flag. So I'll take the flag pole, actually put it right about there, conservative, and put it right there. And look at that. We are right there. Look at that. We have hit it. So that tells me, hey, this thing could be topping at any minute. And you can say, well, how's that good for the altcoins? It's beautiful for the altcoins. Why? Because that means Bitcoin is going to start ranging in a distribution. And why is that good? Because that allows the altcoins to catch up. Well, how is that possible? Because that allows people to rotate their profits from Bitcoin into the altcoins. And if you look at XRP, I think it's one of the best ones, considering the fact that it never broke out into its new all-time high when all the other coins did. So it is the least of the least of the least, right? So if you've been following, right, I think that eventually we're going to top out here, which means what? We're either going to do something like this and continue on, or we're going to do something a little shorter and then continue down into reaccumulation. So this go, or this and down sideways, then go, right? So either way, we're going to oscillate in here just like how we oscillated up here. And as we oscillated up here, that's when a lot of the coins caught up. Right? That's when a lot of the altcoins caught up, right? Is when once Bitcoin stopped and consolidated in distribution. So if that's happening now, this gives a perfect environment for altcoins to catch up. Let's look at XRP, for example. So XRP is, I mean, if you look at the price of XRP, it's so much different than all the other charts, and that could be the best thing in the world, or it could be horrible, right? It could be bad. But I like to take risk, right? I like to take risk, and to me, XRP doesn't really have too much risk. The only thing is the difference in the way the chart looks compared to other charts. But we're gonna dive into all that. So first of all, looking at the price of XRP, we can see, obviously, it hasn't broken out in years. Look at the years right here, 18, right? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's been just doing nothing, right? And to me, nothing is good, because nothing means what? Base, consolidation, accumulation, right? So we never broke the all-time high. We had a crash, right? We didn't go into a new bull run like all the rest did. Instead, we went into a retracement. You can say, well, why is that good? That's great. To me, that is perfect. Why? Because now XRP isn't in a bear market. It's been in a bear market. It's at the final stages of its bear market, right? So now we go into reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways, just like Bitcoin, right? So look at Bitcoin. take a mental screenshot of that. Let me zoom in here because Bitcoin is much smaller than XRP as far as the sideways, as far as the base is concerned, which is really, really good for XRP, right? So you can see this base in here. So you have, take a mental screenshot. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go. So XRP, doesn't it look unbelievably similar to what Bitcoin did? I mean, come on, that looks insane, right? So same thing, right? But much, 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 much bigger. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So there's validation number 1, Bitcoin fractal. Validation number 2, XRP has not broken a new all-time high in quite some time. So that would be another reason to say, hey, look, validation number 2 says, look, Bitcoin or XRP is overdue. It's due for a bull run, right? It's due. It's due for a bull run. So we'll say this is the all-time high, which it is. And we can also say another validation would be, by the way, real quick, look at this. XRP is up about 15% off the low, which is a good sign, right? But anyway, another validation would be the XRP fractal. The XRP fractal, right? Which is essentially this fractal down here. Look how big this thing is down here, right? So the whole idea here is if you hold XRP, the whole thing about it is, how do we get this? How do we get that monster move? What was the environment that allowed for this big thing to happen that changed a lot of lives from nothing to instant millionaires? How is it possible to be an instant millionaire? Well, you need something like this. Well, how do we get something like that? Well, if you look at this structure, what is it? To me, number 1, it's a base, right? That's your base. Sideways. This is good. We want sideways. Sideways is good. A lot of people, now, that's why so many people hate XRP, right? Well, obviously they say, oh, it's a banker coin and it's evil and blah, blah, blah. But also they say it's done nothing. And I say, that's great. That's good. Because look what happened over here. People who had a couple $1,000s, they were millionaires. And where did they buy in the millionaires, right? Where did they? From nothing. Same thing happening now. That's validation, what, number 3? So the base, right? And going back to validation number 2, actually, you know what? I'm not going to keep count because it's going to be a lot, right? There's no reason to keep count. We're just going to keep rolling. So, validation number 2 obviously is this fractal. This fractal came from here. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. It's the same thing that's happening now. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off, right? Hopefully. So you could say, well, going back to Bitcoin, how does XRP blast off if Bitcoin is either, completed its 5th wave? Well, that's true. It could be not. But the thing is, when do altcoins run? Altcoins run during when? A Bitcoin distribution event. So if Bitcoin's grinding its way up and now it's complete, and then it's going to go sideways just like it did here, that's when the altcoins caught up. So granted, it is not at an all-time high. It is at a retracement. So that is something to understand, right? But we are at very bullish levels, right? I believe it is the 702, right? We had a 702 retrace. Let's see. Yep, we hit the 702 now. So we were at the 618. I said, hey, it could be done, right? Because we had a 618 retrace over here. But never before has Bitcoin ever had a 702 retrace without going into a new bull run. So if I pull the fib here, let's see. If I pull it here, where was the 702 at? It was right here. So essentially, it sliced right through the 702, hit the 1-to-1, but then it came back and back tested that 618. So if I get a little fractal, I know it's not going to line up, but just for fun, if I get a little fractal here, something like that, and I put it back over here, this is just for fun, this is just for a visual, and I say something like this, or actually, it depends on how you want to put it. It could be something like that. Right? Something like that, not counting all this, but essentially just highlighting what the dump could look like, right? A big dump back down to the bull market support band, right? I mean, even something, well, I wouldn't think it's like that anymore. It could be something like that, right? So that would actually be interesting, because that would be what? That would constitute as a reaccumulation. So that's actually interesting. Look at that. So we have a rise, crash, retrace, and then we come down for reaccumulation, and then we go sideways for a bit, and then we kick it off. So that actually makes sense to me. And this line matches with this line. So that, there you go. So that could be, just some added confluence into the previous 2 to 3 ideas that we had with Bitcoin. Okay, back to XRP. Let's examine this structure here, this fractal, which, by the way, is the same fractal that led to the big breakout, right? So here we go. And it's kind of funny because, like people, I said, like people, I don't want to be an XRP. It's a waste of time. And, I've been in it and I sold it. And I can't handle it anymore. But that's sort of what you have to do, like, Warren Buffett didn't just get rich overnight, right? On some of his stocks. I mean, sometimes it takes 10, 15 years for them to play out. But if you want to time the market and trade it, that's your strategy. But if you just want to be a hodler and, position yourself that way, when it comes, you're ready and prepared, then that's, to me, the safer option. By the way, not financial advice. Nothing I say on this channel is financial advice. This is just all my opinion. Always know that I could be wrong. Always know that. So we're all trying to interpret the data the best way we can. And, with crypto, there's not a lot of data, right? I mean, we only go back 10, 15 years. It's not like the stock market where you can go back 45 years and look at what happened on October 6th during the breakdown of, or blah, 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 right? So here we go. A lot of times, that's what it takes. It takes people giving up, right? Because I could only imagine how many people gave up in here. Right? Everybody was chasing Bitcoin. Bitcoin was flying. But look what XRP did. They went run, and then it dumped all the way back down. So right there, that psychologically destroyed a lot of people. Then we went up, looked like it was going to take off again. Then it dumped all the way back down. That destroyed a lot of people psychologically. Then, to add salt to injury, it went sideways for a while. That capitulated a lot of people. Then it continued to go sideways. That capitulated a lot of people. Then to add even more lime juice to your stab wound, we look at this wick down here, right? We went sideways and then bam, look at that. It took it all out. So that was basically the final flush out. It flushed out all the disbelievers, right? So that allowed that liquidity to jump to the moon, right? So that could be something we're experiencing now, right? So now let me get back to the fractal here. So this fractal, right? This black fractal is just the same thing that happened over here. So looking at it, it's not perfect, obviously, right? Because we had the Judge Torres ruling, which kind of distorted the way the chart looked. But if I sort of play around with it a little bit, you'll start to see some striking similarities. So let me highlight those for you. So with the fractal, you have this move down, right? Same thing with the price, you have the move down. Then you had this retracement, like a little thing here, retracement right there. Then you had the price come back up and sort of create this tabletop look. Come up with a little tabletop or even a Bart Simpson looking thing, right? Then you had this bounce back up, right? You could say the bounce back up was there or even there. Then we came back down, right? Came back down. We popped up again. And then we sort of drizzled down. So here we actually popped up a little bit more. Then we sort of drizzled down. Then what happened? Then the Judge Torres ruling came out. We had a big pop up, right? Well, the same thing with the fractal. We did have, let me put the fractal up here a little bit so we can see. You know, we had this pop-up, right? We did have a big pop-up. And then what happened? And then we sort of drizzled on down, just drizzled down. Well, this isn't a drizzle down. It's more of a corrective, like an A, B, C. But it's the reason I think it didn't drizzle down is because we had such a big pop. And it wasn't sort of, I wouldn't say, it wasn't organic because it was a news-driven event. So you have to look at things skeptically because of it is an anomaly, right? It is an anomaly in the chart. So we have to understand that. So drizzling down, right? Drizzling down, same thing. So you have all these points. I mean, right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 points. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. So look at where we are now. And if you hear banging in the background, that's because they are fixing, they're actually redoing the whole roof. We had some rain, a couple little leaks there and there. We decided, hey, let's just do the whole roof. So if you hear knocking in the background, I apologize. So anyway, look how close we are to the fractal. I mean, look at that. And then not to mention, look at the RSI here, right? You draw a little trend line here. Let me see if I can do that. Right there, right? So I want to see a break above this trend line. And that would be sort of cool to see that, right? So obviously it's not going to go straight up. It could, right? But you could see if let me fidget with the fractal here a little bit so we can line it up a little better. Now there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But I'm thinking somewhere right around there, something like that. So you could see, right? And then also a big thing to point out is we broke below the bull market support band and now we're back testing it. So here's the thing. If we back test it as resistance and then continue to go down, that's gonna just prolong the correction, right? And then it's gonna sort of deviate away from the fractal. But that would be okay. Let's talk about that, because what would that be? That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, and then we can go. And that would be totally fine. And that's sort of, a really interesting a correlation there, because if Bitcoin does fall from where it's at, then that would make sense for that to happen. But if Bitcoin falls, it's not going to fall forever. It's going to fall in a range. And so here's the big thing that I want to talk about. So depending where Bitcoin stalls out at, right? I don't know how much further it's got. I think it's probably done maybe a little bit higher, but we'll just say right about there, okay? So we come down here, there's your range. So if we come up a little bit higher, whatever. The big thing is when we come down, we test the bull market support band, right? Or we even come down even to the bottom of the base, then we come back up. So as we come down, just to talk about that, let me remove this out of the way. Just to talk about the more the other idea, excluding the fractals, which is a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So if that's the count, right, and then we go, we still have downside to go. And what would the downside be? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have one more wave to go, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we get down here, we take out all of this, we grab that liquidity, and then we rocket ship, just how like XRP did that before. I mean, check this out. Here's all the resistance. We 1, 2, 3, 4. We broke the resistance, right? Now look it back over here. Look what happened over here. Same thing that happened. Look at this. Here's your support, right? I said resistance. I mean support. Well, look what happened. We broke below the support. We grabbed that liquidity, and then we shot to the moon, right? So you almost had like a diagonal looking thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's not, right? Obviously it wasn't. It was more just chop. But anyways, the chop had support, and it broke below the support. So that could theoretically happen again and still be very, very bullish, just like over here. I mean, come on. I mean, guys, if you can't see everything lining up, I don't know how to tell you. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you have a rise, you have a rise, you have a crash, you have a crash, you have a retracement, you have a retracement, you have a reaccumulation, you have reaccumulation, you have this sideways mess. You have this sideways mess. But then within the mess, within this sideways mess, you have striking similarities, right? Which a lot of those similarities some of the similarities haven't been fulfilled yet. So again, I go back to my point here is, if we do continue to go down, that doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean it's, everything I said was wrong. That just means we're doing a different idea. And that idea would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and it's not just pulling out of a hat, and I say, okay, if this idea were to occur, how does it compare with Bitcoin? And it actually compares with Bitcoin beautifully, because just like back over here, right here, and I like to use theta as an example. I would use XRP, but remember, XRP was in a retracement during that time. It wasn't in a bull run. So you could see, here's the price of theta going flat, 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 right? And then as soon as it shot to the moon, look where Bitcoin was. It was already at the top in distribution. So we know that already, right? So going back over here, we can see that potentially Bitcoin goes into another distribution event before coming down into reaccumulation and then going higher, right? But if it's going to go down, it's got to sort of distribute in here. And if we can get that distribution, right? Because remember, when XRP blasts off, or a lot of coins blast off, sometimes they don't take that long. I mean, it could, like, for example, theta took 20 days for it to just explode to an all-time high from like less than $1, or I think like around $1 up to $15, $16. So it was more than a 10x in 20 days. It was remarkable. Not saying XRP is going to do that, but I'm just saying you don't need a lot of time, because when the alts move, they move fast. And it's more about catching up, right? Because people are rotating their profits out of Bitcoin into the altcoins. So if we have a move down, then what does that look like for XRP? Right? We have a move down, right? Okay. Then Bitcoin establishes a range, because it's all about establishing the range. When we were over here, I thought maybe we are in the range, but no, we broke out into another high, which is actually better, because what that did is it prolonged the timeline of the range, which gives the altcoins more chance to mature into their breakouts, if that makes sense. So we come down, and then we don't go down. That's not going to happen. We're going to go down, and then we're going to bounce hard, right? Like a dead cat bounce, right? That bounce can break us out, but likely not. It's probably going to come up here before we get another move, and then maybe we can go higher. But a lot of times it's a chop right in here. So as we move back up, what do we see for XRP? That's when we get the big move. And you go, yeah, but the Bitcoin move, that little move, how the heck can XRP shoot up like that upon a little tiny Bitcoin move like that? Well, just going back to the theta example, right? You can see theta was going sideways, right? As Bitcoin was gradually moving up. Then once Bitcoin stopped, that's when theta just instantly moonshotted, right? I'm not saying XRP is going to do that, but at least we can have a big move out of the zone that we've been in. So let me get that out of the way. So at least we can get, out of here. So like, for example, this down move, we're still retracing this down move. So we want to get back up into here as far as the retracement goes. Now, hopefully that retracement turns into a much bigger breakout and to a new all-time high. And you could say, well, how's that possible if Bitcoin didn't? Well, because remember, XRP never had an all-time high. Here was its all-time high back in 2017, 2018. So if XRP did go into a new all-time high upon a Bitcoin retracement distribution event, all it would be doing is catching up to where XRP was supposed to be at in the first place. Because remember, like I said, XRP never broke a new all-time high. So if it did break out into a new all-time high, all it is doing is catching up to where it should be in the first place. It's not like it's outpacing, right? And if this happens, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, look at XRP, it's leading the way. It's doing that." But no, it's not leading. It's catching up from years and years and years and years and years of abuse, right? It's catching up. So, Bitcoin, like if you're on a dirt bike track, Bitcoin has lapped XRP. So if XRP catches Bitcoin back, it's not like he passed them for the lead. It's essentially you're taking back a lap, right? So like if you for example, watch NASCAR or Formula One, if a car gets lapped, and then that car passes the leader back, it's not like he's passing for the lead, but instead, right, takes that lap back. So something kind of like that. Okay, now let's get everything off the screen, and we're going to talk more confluence, more things that are happening here. So just real quick, you can see Bitcoin and XRP side by side, right? So eventually Bitcoin's going to chill out a little bit and do something like this, right? So if we come down a little bit further, Bitcoin shoots up. I think we're going to get a big shoot up. Pulls down, pulls back. comes up, we're going to get a move, right? Now, that move can be a straight line up. I'm not here to speculate on how it's going to look, but I'm just saying I believe that XRP has a big chance to getting back to its 702, which is sitting at a... Oh, let me do that one more time. I apologize. I've been dealing with contractors and things like that, so I haven't had a lot of time. Just, when they're doing the roof, it's bang, 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 bang all day, and I'm, trying to get a video out for you guys at the same time, right? I know why it's moving, because I'm on two different charts. Okay, so the 702 is about $1.45, $1.44, $1.45 area. Let me make sure that's right there. Yeah, about $1.46, $1.45. Okay, so I think, I'm not saying XRP has to go into a new all-time high and blast off without Bitcoin, but at least Bitcoin hit a 702 retrace. Well, first of all, Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high. XRP did not. Then XRP had a 702 retrace from that big breakout. XRP hasn't even had a 702 retracement from its retracement, if that makes sense, right? So, for example, like you could see, here's the Bitcoin all-time high right here, this black line, right? You had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and sideways breakout, right? Here's XRP's all-time high, right? So, when we went into a retracement, right, we retraced the all-time high. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is retracing its all-time high. But XRP hasn't even... So here's Bitcoin's retracement. Here's the reaccumulation. We haven't even retraced the retracement. So here's the retrace. Now we're retracing the retrace. Bitcoin is retracing its bear market move down by going back up. So it had a 702 retrace from this crash. So all I'm saying is XRP definitely has the potential to retrace a 702, not from its all-time high, but just going back to it, retracing its retracement, if that makes sense. So let me take all that off. So let's see, where was the 702 with from the XRP from its all-time high here? Let's see. Let me try to get that perfectly here. Okay. So the 702 is at $2.34. So there you go. So that's the big thing, right? $2.34 is the XRP 702, right? Not from its new all-time high, but from its previous all-time high. So this is what I'm saying here is everything I'm talking about is giving ammunition to XRP's case for a bullish move to the upside. Because theoretically and realistically, XRP should be at, let's see where it is compared. XRP should be at $4.15 if it were to follow Bitcoin. So, for example, here's Bitcoin, right? It went all the way up to 50, 60,000. So if XRP did the same thing, it would be about $10 all the way up to about $12. Then XRP crashed all the way. If XRP had a normal bull run like everybody else, then what we would see here is XRP hitting $10, crashing all the way down to about 40 cents, then retracing all the way up to about $4.15. If it had a normal bull run. But it didn't. It had something better, which is what? A base. Not just any base, a massive base. XRP has the biggest base in crypto history. Let me say that again. XRP has the biggest base in crypto history. There's no other coin on planet Earth that has more of a track record of going sideways than XRP. And that's why everybody doesn't like it, because it doesn't reward them like the other coins. But that's where the smart, intelligent investor outwits the impatient investor. And that is the reason why I'm doing my channel as well, because I didn't need to do it. I mean, my I have a normal life and whatever. But there are many people out there that talk about crypto on YouTube, specifically the charts. So I'm like, well, why would I do that? How can I add any value? Because when I watch these guys, they're not. I'm watching like different XRPTA videos on YouTube, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how come he's not talking about this? Or how come he's not mentioning that? And I found myself talking to the TV as I was doing my work. Like, I'm listening to the TV in the background on YouTube, and I'm thinking about this and that, and I'm actually like find myself talking to the TV as if I'm like the narrator. So I'm like, you know what? So it bothered me, and then one day, obviously, somebody asked me for some TA advice, and I sent them the video, but I couldn't send it because the video was too long. So I made a YouTube video and I sent it to them, and then it kind of circled it around, and I got some encouragement. So here we are today. So again, XRP has the power to get back up to this $2.34 area, right? It even has the power to reach, that's the 702 from this move, right? So here's your bull run, here's your crash. Look at the retracement. The retracement only got to the 50, but Bitcoin's retracement got to the 702. So, but to me, I don't think it's just going into a retracement. If we do get to $2.34 as far as a retracement goes from this bear market, to me, it says, okay, we're probably going to go a lot higher than that. But at the end of the day, we have a very strong chance. Let me draw the retracement from the retracement high to the low. And I know it's getting let me actually just take everything off. Okay, so let me just do this right here. So if I take this line here, put it right there. But yeah, like I said, $1.44. So that's my target. My target for everybody out there. If Bitcoin can continue to range and stay above the bull market support band, contingent on those factors for Bitcoin, my humble opinion, not financial advice, is that XRP is on its way to $1.44. Not immediately, not in a straight shot. Obviously, we got to hit $1 first. We got to hit $1.30 first. But I think it has a really good chance of getting back to a 702. And if it can't, then at least the minimum I want to see is a 618, which is $1.30. So my target for XRP is $1.30 to $1.44. So there you go, $1.30 to $1.44. Now, how do we get there? How do we get to that? How do we get to that area, right? And by the way, my big target, right, for XRP is between $8 and $14. But I don't really want to talk about that and get, I'm not like a hypey person and talk about that. I will, however, talk about it if we start breaking out of these retracement levels. That's when I start saying, okay, now it's time to get the big guns out. But since we're in the depth of despair and it feels like it's been dragged out and a lot of depression and hope and has been lost, because if you look, we've been going sideways for how many years? Over 6 years, right? So imagine holding a coin for 6 years and it never breaking an all-time high. That would make the individual couldn't capitulate, right? It wouldn't handle, unless you're a hardcore believer in the utility value, right? Because your psychology in holding an asset is different from, from a technical perspective through a fundamental perspective. So for me, I'm on board with both. The biggest problem that we have in the world today is what? Payments. That's the biggest application I can see for crypto. It's so easy, payments. Grandma and grandpa understand what a payment is. But grandma and grandma might not understand what a meme coin is, or what an oracle is, or what a smart contract is, or what this or what that is, right? So everybody in the world, from sea to shining sea, all throughout the world, understands payments. And to me, XRP is the epitome of crypto payments. So that's the utility value, and I digress about that. But even more than payments, we're talking derivatives, we're talking the banking system, reducing cost, borderless, remittances, the XRP ledger, building on the XRP. I mean, there's so much. But that's not this channel. And some of the reason why my videos are so long is because I sort of go off on these tangents of other reasons, because I'm not just sort of not trying to toot my own horn, but savvy in a chart perspective. I also, have a clearer understanding of the regulatory, the fundamental side, the financial banking system that has been corrupted, and the deep state, and there's so many different things that go into all this, and it's not an easy decision, because your money is what you worked for, and you have to be smart, especially nowadays. You have to be very smart of where you put your money, because that money could, if you lose $20, that's like losing thousands of dollars if you make the wrong decision, right? So, and it's all unrealized gains, but at the end of the day, this is money for you and your family to grow and grow and grow. And you have to make the right decision. So, for me, my right decision is XRP. It doesn't mean it has to be yours, but from my conclusion, that's what it's been, and it's been like that for a while. Now, granted, if I knew we were going to have to go through all of this, right? And when you zoom out, it makes sense now. I probably wouldn't have held XRP. I would have held. You're better off holding Bitcoin, right? Until Bitcoin decides to do what it's doing now, which in my opinion is going to start ranging. So Bitcoin ranging is what we want to see. So, man, this video already got too long. So let me take Bitcoin off the screen. Oh, before I do that, just real quick. Let me take that off. Once Bitcoin starts to range, like I've been saying, I think we can maybe come down a little further. It really depends. But eventually we're going to shoot out of here upon this oscillation, right? And I think we have a good shot at getting to that $1.30, $1.40 as Bitcoin goes into distribution up there. So that's my main idea. That's my main thesis. That's my hope. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But yeah. So okay. So I got all that out of the way, and it only took an hour. See? We're making great time. No, I'm just kidding. If you're still with me, I really appreciate you. Maybe if it's too long, speed the video up to 1.25 or 1.5. But continuing on, keep an eye on this line. A lot of people obviously have drawn this line, right? You can draw it to the candles here, or you can draw it to the tip there, right? So, as long as it doesn't go through the bodies of the candle, you're fine. So probably right there, since we have more touches, right? The more touches, the better. So we have plenty of touches there. Okay. So another idea here, and this video definitely is going to go longer than an hour, is what? Obviously, a lot of people have drawn it, but it's a triangle. But not just any triangle. This is going to add also more confluence into what I've been saying. This is a contracting triangle. And if you look, right, obviously we have the bases, the similarities, the fractal, the similarities, right? The same thing, the base, right? But then more than that, we also have a contracting triangle here, which led, it's not going to be perfect. I'm trying to get it as far as I can from a time perspective, but an Elliott wave triangle. So we have an A, B, C, D, and an E, right? Which then allowed the price to explode to the upside, which is why we're all here, right? So what do we have here? And this is another reason I'm very bullish, because instead of like all the rest of the coins going into new all-time high, XRP took its time. XRP took its time. It's like, imagine you're a boxer and all the rest of the coins, they only been boxing for 2 years and now they're all out in the ring. Well, guess what? XRP's never been in the ring. Because why? Because it's been training at the gym way longer than 2 years, right? So look how long XRP's been training. It's been at the gym training hard and hard and hard and hard. It's not making any appearances, right? So people don't like, if said boxer never came out and boxed, eventually they'd start losing fans. Same thing with XRP. We're losing fans, and that's okay, because XRP is not going to come out until it's ready, right? So we have an A, B, C, D, and E. I'm hoping this is E. Now, two little things. D can either not be finished and we can get something like this, right? But I think it is. I think it is finished. And the reason I say that is because every wave needs 3 waves. So you could see this one definitely has 3. 1, 2, and 3. This one is 1, 2. And look at the code. This is where the SEC came out and sued Ripple. And look at the coincidental type of thing that happened in here. It gave us that 3-wave shape, right, for the B wave. And B waves are famous for traps, right? Bull traps. So in B or in C, we also have a 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we've been in D for the last year. Look how long this has taken, right? It's taken forever. So now D, we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're at the final wave. We're at the final wave. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. So think about this. We're at the final wave of the final wave. That's amazing. So, I mean, speculative, hypothetically is what I was trying to say. So 1, 2, 3. So we get down here, right? Which then allows us to go, right? And I'm not saying we have to go up, 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 but at least get, like I've been saying, $1.30. Where's $1.30 at? Right about there. Up to about $1.40, $1.50, right about there. So at least get up to here, right? Maybe a little pullback and then go. So that's sort of how that's my main idea, by the way. That's my main idea. Now, getting rid of that's my main idea. Now it can change. Let's get up here first. Once we get up here and then I start seeing the structure, I start figuring out where Bitcoin is, then I can say, okay, now I'm confident that we're going to go higher or we need to go down, right? But for now, this is my main idea. And if you look, it's the same thing what happened back over here. A, B, C, D, E, go. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, go. A, B, C, D, E, go. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, go. Fractal, right? Things like that. So, I mean, now we've established all that. Now let's talk about indicators and oscillators. So here's a couple indicators just to wrap it up here. Looking at the 3-week chart, you can see the EMA ribbon, right? We have broken above the EMA ribbon. We're above the I think that's the 200. I think, or maybe I don't have that on, but the EMA ribbon, we are above. For this, let's go to the monthly chart and see. Yeah, we are above. So check that out. We are above. That's very, very important. We are above the EMA ribbon. You can see down here, we were below it. So that's actually even good. That's a good sign, right? Let me take everything off. So we know the Elliott wave part. Okay, so don't go anywhere because this is. I know the video's long, but stay with me. Now let's talk about indicators. Indicators. First indicator, obviously the EMA ribbon, and I like to look at the indicator on a bigger time frame, right? I mean, if I zoom into the weekly, let's see, we're probably below it. No, we're actually above it. I'm not going to go any lower, but okay, now we'll look at. Let me take this. Let me get rid of the EMA ribbon. So these are our moving averages, right? The 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. And we're all above those on a weekly scale. Going to the 2-week chart, we're above those as well. I mean, this is good. This is very, very good. This is what we want. So what I'm doing is I'm setting the stage. I'm setting the environment, right? Because Bitcoin is exactly where it should be. XRP is gearing up to where it should be. And then when you look at the indicators of the price, specifically like EMA ribbon, bull market support band, moving averages, they are bullish, right? So monthly chart, definitely we are above them. So look at that. We're above on all time frames. Okay, so now let's look at the MACD, guys. Look at the MACD. I was actually saving it, but it's okay. The MACD is, we have a cross, right? We are starting to wane down a little bit, but it's okay because obviously we had a correction with this ABC, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, and then the idea is to get the heck out of here. And the reason why we have to go down is because look at the move up from 2020, from the beginning of 2023. So a whole year up, the whole entire year. We've been going up. So now we need a counter wave for another continuation. And the idea would be that this whole thing would be a wave 1, 2, 3, right? Let me get rid of that real quick. Come on, let's go. Hopefully 3 can get us up to $5, $6, $7, right? A wave 4, and then that final wave up to $10, $12. Now, XRP doesn't like to move like that, right? XRP likes to move like this, because this is the only sort of thing we've had here. So taking that fractal, look how long it took. It was nothing. It went straight up, right? It went straight up. So if I were to draw it, right, it would be now the first wave wasn't straight up, because that's sort of your setup wave, like this 1, 2, then it's straight up. So 1, 2, then it's straight up, right? So straight, then sort of a sideways, and then a final hit to the top, right? Up to that $10 mark or so. So something like that. That's like the best case scenario. So there you go. That is the best case scenario that I can see happening. And we are right there. We're right at the finish line here. Same thing that occurred over here, right at that finish line. Now, hopefully that's the case, right? And hopefully Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high, or if it doesn't, at least give us some distribution time so that people can rotate just like it has throughout history. And if it doesn't go into a new all-time high, at least let's give us a retracement, right? So if I put the retracement here, to here. Well, first let me take all that off first. Sorry about that. Let's get a retracement at least, right? If it doesn't want to do that, at least get us up to this region up in here. And that's where I think it rightfully deserves to be, if not even higher. Because, now let's take line there and a line there. Okay, and then we'll take that off. So those are the three levels. The yellow area is definitely where I think we're heading. The last area would be the most conservative area would be right here. And let me change that to blue. Okay. So those are the areas that I have for us today. I believe wholeheartedly we will get up there. Now, we might need a big correction before we get there, but I think we are getting there. If we're lucky, we can get up to here. If we're even luckier, we can start breaking out and going into price discovery, right? So if Bitcoin, obviously there's different ways to look at it, but you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we get 5. If we get 5, and then that gives us a lot of time, right? That gives us a lot of time. Then it goes into distribution. Then that's when XRP can moonshot. If it's not going to do that, then that means that means Bitcoin is in a retracement, and now it's going to distribute and go either into reaccumulation, right? Or maybe another wave up. But during this time, just like during this time in here, that's when it allows time for the price to catch up, right? So there you go. I think that should do it. Let me see if there's any more indicators we can look at. You guys know my price targets, right? I mean, the best way to do it is to just draw a Fibonacci extension and to be conservative about it. Let's see if that lines with some confluence here. And look at that, it does. If it gives me up to the, let me actually put this right about there. It gives us right between the 50 and the 618, so that's interesting. The 1-to-1 extension is the yellow area, right? So yeah, I think between $8 and $13, $8 to $14 is a sort of a liberal price target, and it's definitely in the cards, especially because Bitcoin hit a 4.236, Ethereum did, Dogecoin hit way higher than that. A lot of the coins, tons of coins, hit their 4.236 extension. And given the fact that XRP has the biggest base in crypto history, I would expect nothing less than a 4.236 extension. Everything's contingent on when we break out. Right? When we break into a new all-time high. So the big question is, if we can break out into a new all-time high, I definitely believe, which is $3.30. If we can break above $3.30, my target is between $8 and $14. Okay? All the way up to $27. That would be the high end. Between 8 and 14, all the way up to 27. Okay? So I believe, since, like I said, XRP has the biggest base in crypto history, it would be very easy for it to do that. Now, if XRP is not going to break out into a new all-time high, not yet rather, eventually it will. It's just a matter of time. And by the way, time is on our side because XRP put in all the work, right? It's been at the gym for 6 years, while everybody else has been at the gym for less than 2 years, right? Developing its base in here. So if we already have a cup, and we could potentially be getting another cup, right? If we get back up here. So that's the thing. If we get to the retracement levels, which I really think we're going to get to up into here, up into these retracement levels, retracing this bear market, like for example, Bitcoin retraced a 702. XRP hasn't hit its 702 going back to its previous bull run, right? So if we get up to that 702, then that creates this cup and handle right here, right? So there's your neckline, and then all we got to do, right, is break above, let's see, what is that? On a monthly scale, $1.60. So we break above $1.60, we're on our way to $3.30. If we can get to $3.30, we're on our way to $8 to $14. So there you go, guys. The oscillators look good. Another reason why I think XRP is gonna go out is because if you look at coins like Theta and others, you could see a bull, bear, you could see a base. You got to get a retracement. Rise, crash, retrace. So as the alts go into a retracement, like Theta, I believe Theta is going to get into a retracement before doing something like that, right? So we have plenty of room to the upside. Not just XRP, but all the other coins are saying, hey, we got upside, right? We got a lot of upside to go. So maybe Bitcoin has this, but I'm talking macro, right? So Bitcoin hit the 702. It needs a correction. So going back to Bitcoin real quick, I'm not suggesting this is going to happen right away. Because look, taking everything off, it appears like Bitcoin definitely needs to chill out for a little bit here. So at least put that line there. At least have an A, B, C and back test this area. So as we're ABCing, that could be when XRP has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So during this fifth wave, and then we grab and then we go, right? So then, right, or even maybe further down to the ribbon. Either way, we come down. Let me put the bull market. I don't have it up yet, but we come down, right? Then we bounce back up. And as we bounce up, that's when I'm thinking we bounce up in XRP, we bounce up, right, in Theta, zooming out on Theta, right? I mean, Theta definitely looks like it needs a retracement as it has Wyckoff in here, has a markup and a continuation, right? I mean, even looking at total 3. So as Bitcoin has that correction, maybe we have a correction, like I said, in total 3 as well, where we have A. This could be another expanded flat happening, A, B, and then a C. So something like that before we continue higher in its retracement levels. Because if you look at total 3, what do you see? You see a bull market, a bear market, right? Accumulation, but now you need a retracement. So Bitcoin's already at its retracement. So as Bitcoin's at its retracement, we can rotate into alts, because total 3 is essentially all altcoins. I mean, even H-bar. Look at H-bar. Look at H-bar. Look at that. We broke out, we back tested, and now we're continuing higher. So let's see if we, pull back a little bit and get back up into its retracement level. So I'm not talking just XRP. I'm talking many coins that still need, like Chainlink, got to its retracement level. Solana got to its retracement levels. They were leaders. So now we need the followers, right? So eventually, I believe a lot of these coins, or some of them, are going to get into their retracement levels, just like how Link did. Look at Link. See, Link went into reaccumulation, but then look, it got back up here. Same thing for XLM, right? Well, XLM is the same as XRP. So whatever I said for XRP applies to XLM. Ethereum, let's see where Ethereum is at in its retracement levels. We're already over an hour anyway. Screw it. So we're at the 50. So I'm thinking 702 or 618 area. So Ethereum still has some room to go. Let's look at Matic. Oh yeah, look at Matic. Matic, well, it did hit a retracement up there. So let me see. It actually, nope, it didn't hit it yet. So Matic still has room to go into its retracement somewhere right in here. So breakout, backtest, continuation. Solana, I think Solana, yeah, see, Solana already hit its retracement levels, I believe. Let me see if I pull it down. Well, not really on linear scale. Actually, not at all. Look at it, it's at the 382, right? So if Solana wants to retrace 163 to 184, so it still has room to go. ADA definitely, look at ADA. I mean, ADA definitely has a lot of room to go to the upside. I mean, you have this big bull run, this big bear market, this big base, and now a big impulse, a big back test. Everything is saying retrace, retrace, retrace. And what I'm saying is, if everything is going into a bullish mania, because we haven't had an alt season, right? Typically, we have alt seasons every now and then, typically during a bull market. But when Bitcoin goes into a retracement, typically there is a miniature alt season. So all I'm saying is, if Chainlink did it, why can't ADA? And if ADA gets into its retracement levels, why can't XRP? And if all the coins are going into the retracement, XRP can too. But more than that, XRP has the ability to break out into a new all-time high, given the fact that what? It already had its retracement. It already had its retracement. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off, right? So of course it can go into another retracement. But remember, XRP is overdue for a bull run. XRP is still hasn't had a bull run. It hasn't broken its new all-time high. It's overdue. So what I'm saying is, if Bitcoin does its thing and the altcoins catch up, then that allows XRP all the ammunition in the world to break out. So is it going to happen? I have no idea. But the stage looks perfect for this scenario to occur, especially how close we are to the fractal and things like that. So we'll see. I know my two dogs are definitely looking forward to it. Belgian Malinois, great dog. Definitely high energy, recommended dog. He's a very loyal protector. By the way, this is just a thing to say, if you made it to the end of the video, let me know what kind of dog you have. Do you like dogs? That'll let me know if you've seen it all the way through. And yeah, comment their name, and love to know what species. I love dogs. I think dogs being a part of our life, any animal really, definitely has a huge impact. So there you go, guys. I think that should do it. It's gotten long. I could show more indicators, but you get the idea. It is what it is. Obviously, real quick, just wanted to point this out before I go. There is a channel here, right about here, right? Well, actually, let me do it a different way. So right about there's the channel. So we could, like I said, continue down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that would finish up the C wave, right? So but what's interesting about it, right, is it also, there was a channel down here. And just to point it out real quick, I've done it before, but there was a little channel, not as perfect, but something like this, right, where we broke below the channel, and then that's when we exploded to the upside, right? So we could, in fact, break below this channel, right? Like something like that, just to freak everybody out, right? Maybe a black swan or some type of liquidity event right there. So you can see, just trying to show you the comparison here. Let me put 2 lines there and there, and then let me zoom out, and there you go. So something like that, right? So you can have, we could have a big flash crash. So just be, if that occurs, to me, that's a buy the dip opportunity. So I'm just letting you know a flash crash could happen. But more than that, I think a retracement and higher prices are on the way. We just gotta work through this last bit of correction, like we did through here and like we did through here, and hope for the best and prepare for the worst. But if preparing for the worst is easy, because why? HODL. Simple as that. HODL is the best thing we can possibly do. And then, you know, once we break out of this thing, right? Cup, handle, breakout, back test, go. I think that's coming. And if it's not coming now, it'll come later. Eventually, XRP Army community will be vindicated and they will be heavily rewarded. It's just a matter of when, right? And we are at election year. Locks can happen during election year. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But until then, guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. And again, I appreciate everybody's support. Trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. I don't even know, maybe if I'm there already. I haven't checked. Yeah, a comment would be appreciative. A like would definitely. And yeah, a subscribe would be awesome too. And if you want more videos like this, you know, let me know. And if there's a particular asset you want me to look at, I can definitely check it out for you. But, you know, these videos are not to tell you where the price is going to go. These videos are just to explain my thinking, my reasoning, my speculation, my understanding, and hopefully the thought process that I have from start to finish. You know, maybe you can catch some tips or some help in your own thinking, because it's all about thought process, right? When you're examining an asset and the utility value, you're examining the chart as well. What is the thought process into the analysis, right? And that's part of the reasons why the videos are long, is to give you my thought process and how I come up with these ideas and what I'm looking at, so that, you know, it's not to tell you what it is, but it's just an example of what others can do as well when they're looking at charts, right? Everybody has different strategies, but more than a strategy is how you dissect what you're looking at from start to finish. And I hope I do a good job at that and explaining that, and because I know it's helped me, and my thing is paying it forward and helping others. So there you go. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers. And let's go XRP community. We are the chosen ones.